Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Leading Edge Cricket Podcast. We're back once again. It's England Watch on the England Cricket Podcast. It's Rob and Rich. You know, we're banging out two podcasts a week. And then England on a Thursday for about the third week in a month come up trumps and give us something else to talk about, Rich. It is big news. Red Ball Reset is in full operation and we have just thrown every tradition of England cricket out of the window and we've gone, right, you are the new head coach.
Yeah, absolutely massive news, isn't it, Rob? England have appointed former New Zealand captain Brendon McCullum as the men's test coach on a 4-year deal. You heard me right, test coach, not white ball coach. The 40-year-old Kiwi replaces Chris Silverwood, who was obviously and rightly, given the hook for the job. And McCullum's going to be in position for the first test of the summer, which is against, Rob, who is it against at Lords on 2nd of June?
It's against the Kiwis.
Well, dreadful accent. I mean, have you spent any time with Kiwis? It's surely the Kiwis. Close enough. Anyway, he was initially approached as the white ball coach, which obviously made more sense initially, but impressed so much by the sounds of it that he saw the opportunity and it was such an exciting one. Clearly did enough to convince Rob Key that he's the man to take English Test cricket forward. It's also understood that Gary Kirsten and Simon Katic, alongside Paul Collingwood, were all up for the role. So it'll be interesting to see if any of those names come forward when we do get a bit closer to news about the white ball. So anyway, after naming Ben Stokes as captain, the test coach position obviously was next in line. That's the most important role. It's great to see England go for a bold appointment in McCullum. That's the word we're going to hear a lot, Rob. Bold. Everyone keeps calling it a bold appointment. He's just got to wrap up his IPL commitments. Ends Wednesday, the 18th of May, and then he'll be across. So before we hand over to you, I just want to clear a few things up here. McCullum, people seem to see him as a white ball player and obviously coach as well. Incredible career in limited overs cricket. But then after retiring in 2019, he's been a coach, obviously, in the IPL with Kolkata Knight Riders and Trinbago Knight Riders over in the Caribbean Premier League. But we need to just remind ourselves and everybody else that the man has 101 test caps for New Zealand. That's not a white ball specialist. He scored 6,453 runs, Rob, at 38.64. That's not a white ball specialist. 12 hundreds, including the fastest test century of all time of just 54 balls against Australia in 2016. That's a little bit white ball specialist, but it's not. It's test match. 31 half centuries, high score of 302 against India in Wellington back in 2014. He's also captained New Zealand in 31 test matches. Regardless of whether he's seen as a white ball player or coach, this man has a solid test CV, Rob. Bags of test experience to go alongside all of the experience from white ball cricket, international franchise all the way around the world as a player and a coach. I think this is a really, really exciting appointment. England need a change of direction. Winless in 9 tests. They've only won one of the past 17 matches. We needed someone to come in who can shake up the way England play test cricket. This is the man. I think it's a fantastic appointment.
Yeah, it's, like I said at the start, it's the traditional view of what English cricket should be, how we should play English cricket. Feels like it is getting the reset, which is great to see. Key's come in, he's making some decisions and being very transparent about what he's doing. Stokes has come in, bold, leader, motivator, stick the whole team on his back sort of person that everyone's going to follow. And Brendon McCullum was of that ilk. He took over New Zealand when he was captain in a horrendous state. They got absolutely bogged down in South Africa. They got cleaned up for 40 or 50, one of the lowest scores they ever had. Absolute shambolic embarrassment. And he was the pinnacle, the piece, the centerpiece, turning that thing around based on let's play our cricket aggressively. No one can work harder than us on the pitch during the 90 overs are on the pitch every single day. And we're going to be fearless. We're going to have a clear game plan that everyone's on board with. And this is how we're going to go and play our cricket and we're going to play to win. And that is something severely that England desperately need at the moment. They need leadership coaches that are believing that they're trying to win a game. Not trying to have Dom Sibley. Sorry, Dom, I'm picking you out here. But that declaration from Kane Williamson the last time the Kiwis were over last year and then just batting for 4 sessions, chasing 300 and getting nowhere near. Like, that wouldn't happen. That isn't going to happen under this stewardship. And I think McCullum's such a positive bloke and he's held in such high regard here. The New Zealand Herald this morning, I was reading it just before it was coming out, and basically their headlines are, buckle up and get ready for the ride, kids, because this is going to be awesome. He's such a legend. He took New Zealand to the 2015 World Cup final, single-handedly knocked off 80 against England in Wellington in the 2015 World Cups. Tim Southey got 7 for, McCullum got 70-odd off 20 balls. I was in the stands with a massive hangover. I just turned 30, and I was getting laughed out the stands by a bunch of Kiwis I was with. So I'm actually really stoked about it. I think it's such a...
So is Ben.
Yeah. It's just positive. Don't you feel good and invigorated about what you're going to see and how you're going to see England play? Because make no mistake, white ball reset made us the best one-day team in the world. ODI, which no player can get in, even though they've probably been good enough for international cricket because it's lockdown. T20 cricket were the best in the world year on year, pretty much. I know we didn't win the World Cup, but we're very close. But it's the mindset and the positivity and leadership. I feel we're going to get that in red ball cricket now. Not saying we're going to be the best, but I'm saying give our good young players a great platform and great mentorship to be able to be great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, McCullum's already influenced this England setup. White ball cricket. Owen Morgan is a huge fan. I think they're good friends, aren't they, Morgan with McCullum? Huge respect from Morgan towards McCullum, and I'm sure the other way as well. But the way Owen Morgan went on to captain England, white ball, both formats, ODIs and T20, was influenced massively by the way McCullum captained. And you spoke about that. He changed New Zealand cricket like Nasser Hussain did for English Test cricket. It was Nasser Hussain that put in the groundwork for Michael Vaughan and others to then come past him and take on and get those massive, great results, 2005 Ashes, all the rest of it. He did the same for New Zealand. He handed it over to Kane Williamson, a brilliant platform. Not just that, the players and the results and the confidence, but also that culture, wasn't it? The aggressiveness, the I don't want to say arrogance, but you've got to play with a bit of arrogance if you're going to play aggressive, positive cricket. And that's exactly what we had. We got that resiliency from Nasser, which was handed over. And we need that again now. We've got ourselves in a position where we're just identity-free zone cricket. Nobody seems to know what English Test cricket means. Yeah. No disrespect to Joe Root, no disrespect to Alistair Cook, but we lost our identity as a team. And with Stokes in charge, McCullum, who they seem to be so similar in so many respects, they see the game in the same way, it appears. I'm going to get to this in a minute. This is a rebranding job, basically. This is corporate, this is. But it just seems like this is such a perfect way of matching up coach with captain and just basically restarting red ball reset, Rob. We want a red
How
ball
often
reset.
do you get to do that, mate, though? Where you get to have
Not
a complete clean slate? Like if a CEO comes in, it takes time to bring in his right people. Here, there is nothing. What do you want to do? How do you want to do it? It's actually probably the most exciting. If you're like in a business world and you've got this opportunity to do this will be one of the best times that you probably have of your career. And it could be, as England fans, one of the most exciting or shambolic times we have watching England cricket.
None of that tonight. Look, the biggest thing, not one of the biggest, but one of the big things I take away from this, it was not the safe appointment. No, we could have gone with a Collingwood. We could have gone and tried to find the best or the most promising young coach in English cricket and gone for that person. We could have gone for Gary Kirsten, who would have been an absolutely fantastic coach, I'm sure. Somebody that we spoke about a long time ago and someone we identified as someone we would like to see. Katic, like we said, all these people would have been good, but McCullum just seems to be, it's that dynamic idea, isn't it? It might be like any gamble, you might lose. It might not work. But it's a great way to approach things from Rob Key, to try and roll the dice, to carry on the gambling analogy and see if you can win. And it's just exciting, isn't it? It's not the safe choice. They've gone for something different. If this is the way Rob Key is going to be running things, it's at least going to be fun.
Yeah, it definitely is. I am quite excited. Is there anything that... sorry, I don't want to play Nancy negative here, but I wrote down, there's all these positives about McCullum and what we're going to see. Michael Vaughan, one of your best mates, has come out and said, the bold appointment makes me nervous. And I think that is something we should talk about because there is talk, and yes, the word bold is being used way too much, but you've got a coach that hasn't coached in first-class cricket. And now there's several ways of looking at this. Chris Silverwood was a county championship darling. That didn't quite work out. There was titles with Essex. There was promotions with Essex. It doesn't always necessarily mean success when it comes to it, right?
First off, can you coach? Can you coach? Can you lead and can you coach? Coaching, management, leadership, what we're talking about, it's about culture. It's about driving culture. It's about driving change. It's all those corporate nonsense things which actually do mean a lot. And it's not just corporate stuff. It's psychology. It's all the rest of it. Can you do that? Can you drive that forward? It's not about delivering skills to your juniors on a Thursday or Friday night at your club cricket. This is about taking the finest players in the country and just making sure you get them prepared to play at the right times. It's making sure that the culture in the team is right. Ben Stokes talks about he wants selfless cricketers. It's just getting that culture right and people wanting to play and wanting to perform in it. We've seen too often talented players come and play English Test cricket and not be able to perform. Now, whether they're completely frazzled or they just don't have a clear idea or they're feeling too much pressure, they cannot perform, not consistently. We need people that can create that environment where they do go for it. But this comes back to it. Can he coach? I'm not worried about whether or not he's coached red ball that much or he's only done white ball. He's played 101 Test matches. He's captained his country. He's played all sorts of formats all around the world. He obviously played first-class cricket in New Zealand. He probably did over here as well, I'm sure. He's got so much experience and he does coach. He is a coach. It's cricket. It's not like he's coming up from rugby. He's coaching a different format of cricket, but it's still cricket. It's not that complicated to make that transition, is it? And if you can take some of that dynamic sort of aspects of white ball cricket into Test cricket without being completely reckless, what a great different perspective. I don't see the criticism. I find it weird with Michael Vaughan, and we were just talking previous to this. I feel like if Michael Vaughan had suggested Brendon McCullum, he would be going wild and saying this is the greatest idea ever. But because he didn't think of it, and Rob Key did, he's like, I'm a bit not sure about this one. Give it a break, Vaughanie. Come on.
Yeah, nervous is nervous is a strange word because you're nervous.
It really is a weird word.
Yeah, you've probably been something and then it's going to fall apart based on your appointment. Let's be completely clear. This is the worst English ICC ranking since 95 or 96. This is the doldrums for probably 2 generations of cricket fans now watching it. So there is a lot that needs changing. And obviously you've touched on Nasser and the great work that he did with Duncan Fletcher in the early 2000s. I can't remember the exact year. I thought it was 2001 he took over. But that period of time was unique to English cricket because we started winning games of cricket. That to me was when Graham Thorpe, who unfortunately is in a bit of a poor place at the moment health-wise, so we wish him the best. But Graham Thorpe was a man of immense talent for a long time for England. I can remember watching him in the late 90s and he had 2 centuries to his name. 2. And he had bags of 50s, like 20-odd 50s. He couldn't convert. And then as the culture changed, the captaincy changed and confidence grew, he became the best version of himself and started to live up to that potential and go score more than 10, 15 international Test centuries and then finished just before. In fact, not shoehorning him in, but he got dropped for KP coming in the 2005 Test series and finished with a century against New Zealand in the 2005 or 2004 series against them. So there is some continuity there. There is a fair place to put KP into that conversation. If you're Gary Kirsten here, Rich, you applied previously and missed out. You were the most talked about coach as part of this appointment to the point where it's almost a shoo-in that you are going to make this. Like, how do you come away from this feeling like that's surely your relationship with England tarnished? I can't go back to that.
I don't know. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with the white ball cricket coach yet. It might be that Kirsten's also interested in that. It might be he didn't really mind which one it was. The last one round, I can't remember exactly how it all shook out, but obviously they wanted to go with one coach across all formats, including selector. I don't know if Kirsten at that point was basically a little bit reluctant to take on all 3. It might have been that if it was a Test job only, he would have took it. I might be wrong there. I just feel I've got a very vague memory that he didn't really want to do all 3. So I don't think it will be. I think as long as it's been done in the right way, as long as it's been demonstrated it's been a fair process, then I've got no problem with it. And I don't think Kirsten should have either. There's some great jobs around the world in cricket at the moment. You know, ones that are basically part-time hours and, you know, directorship pay, isn't it? So I think it's disappointing for him. I would have liked to have seen him had a go, but only because I wasn't really considering people like McCullum. I didn't think somebody like him would be available or would be up for it yet or ready for it. And the fact that he thought he was, the fact that we thought he was as well, and that he's come for it and he's blown the socks off Rob Key and whoever else was interviewing, just makes me genuinely excited. Yes, I can get carried away with stuff like this. I am generally quite an optimistic person with sport because I just don't understand following sport if you're going to be a pessimist about everything. Where's the fun in that? You may as well try and enjoy it. It's not. We don't have to follow sport, do we? So I do get a little bit excited with stuff like this, but I just think it ticks a lot of boxes. It's kind of pushing back against where we've been over a number of years. We've been cautious. We've been openers that bat at, you know, a ridiculously slow strike rate. We've gone back to the same people in some ways as well. I want to see something different. I want to see us try different players. Now, this is the other thing as well. We don't know where this is going to go now. All of that stuff we knew about who might get games, rip it up, forget about it. It all starts again, doesn't it? It's all about Stokes, McCullum, Rob Key's opinions now. What we knew is irrelevant now. I can't wait to see this squad, which apparently will be about next week. They'll be announcing the squad for the first test.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting because you look at what McCullum was able to achieve, the type of player he was. Him coming in, and let's make no mistake, he was under the Mike Hessen learning tree, and Hessen's one of the finest coaches, multi-format across the world over the last 10 years. So he's been around a lot of great people, a lot of great minds, and McCullum has a great mind for cricket. I wouldn't be surprised if we see positive players in this team. And that doesn't mean, and I think the thing that we don't get carried away with, New Zealand were a great team under McCullum and turned themselves into a great team. But not everyone played like the McCullum plays. There was only one Brendon McCullum in that team. It's about everyone being positive in all the facets of the game, whether it's fielding, whether it's encouragement, whether it's chasing down balls. That was one of his big ones from the South Africa whitewash, was we've got to be the team that chased down every single ball on this field for 5 days. We don't give them a single run. It's being positive in everything you do. It could be running between the wickets. It could be positive in defence, positive in leaving Ollie Pope if you're in the team. But I do think it means that you see guys like Zach Crawley given more opportunities and a bit of belief in him, because he might see we need players like that. Or he might look at it and say, oh, we need a little bit of the Mark Richardson sort of mould, throwback to New Zealand opener, now TV pundit, who would just block all day, put average 45 in test match cricket. He would just bat. You had that one guy at the top that you could just set your watch by, you, Alistair Cook, that could just bat all day. And then you've got your players like a Root who scores at a decent league. You've got players like Stokes. You've probably got players like Bairstow, maybe. You've got players like Folks, who's in exceptional form again today. You know, it creates opportunities for guys to come into a positive environment and play how they want to play. They don't have to just get bogged down.
Yeah, and I think that's the important part, isn't it? When we're talking about positive and aggressive and all that, we're not talking about people coming in and teeing off. We tried Jason Roy as an opener a few years ago. That was positive, aggressive in that white ball sense. That's not what we're talking about. It's like you said, and I think you've summed that up brilliantly. It's about everything you do it positively. You do it with the right mindset. The culture's there, the supportive culture's there, so you can make sure that you do things and you've got the support. That if you do fail, at least if you're trying to do it in the right way, it's going to be understood and accepted. And it's things like running between the wickets, isn't it? It's just doing everything you do it with the right intent. And I do just wonder if it's about personality. You might be an absolute blocker, but as long as you've got the right personality and you're doing it in the right mindset, it could be you do get your place in the team. So it doesn't mean we're going to get 11 guys that are trying to slash it all over the park. But it does mean perhaps like a Ben Duckett, for example, could be considered as a number 3 in this new setup. Previously, I don't think he'd have been considered as a number 3 at all, even though he bats there in county cricket and scores a lot of runs like he's doing this year. But maybe now you can start looking at somebody like him, just using him as an example, that you might go, well, actually, he bats 3, he does it well, he does everything I like. Get him in, I trust him. We can give him a shot.
Yeah.
Be interesting. It really will be.
Scored 40 odd again today. I did see him get dropped before I went to sleep down in New Zealand, but he bounced back, got 40 odd. I see he got runs as well. Under the radar, probably never to be thought of again, but may get a call up at some point. So it will create different opportunities in this England lineup and different opportunities for people to come in and really try and impact the game in a really good measure. And I think the other thing about McCullum is there's a huge amount of resilience in him, and able to take it on the chin. Like, this was the guy that led New Zealand 2015 World Cup, got out first over of the World Cup final in Australia, still able to bounce back and lead them really well and do well in Test cricket, finish on a high. You talk about his 100, that was against an Indian bowling attack. And the week before, he scored 200 against that Indian bowling attack. So, as a player, he was able to go back-to-back against big teams. And his final 100, the fastest 100 of all time, was in his final test match against Australia, which was kind of burying the demons of what had happened previously in the World Cup final and how that kind of shunned and, all his positive energy had gone from that. And he said, and he learned from that. He said, look, I played within myself. I was nervous wreck in the final. I wasn't me. And they're all experiences, regardless of if you've had first-class coaching experience, leading a team, like a Silverwood or something like that. It's not gospel, meaning you're going to go and do it. There's great coaches who don't win titles in first-class cricket because they haven't got the players available to them. but they make the best out of what they can do. Not everyone has been Justin Langer at Perth or something like that, or Chris Silverwood at Essex. It doesn't mean it's not going to work. There's a bunch of guys who's been at the top, who are the best minds in cricket, who just haven't had that experience in the first-class game or might not have wanted it. And yeah, Brendon McCullum, why would you have wanted it? You're getting an absolute payday from the IPL every single time. And you've just got a payday from New Zealand. $3.9 million the contract is worth over the course of 4 years. Pretty decent money. So that conversion rate, that's probably about £1.9 million pounds.
Plenty.
Which is Tom Harrison's bonus.
No comment. Look, it's all about knowing what you know and knowing what you need, isn't it? This new setup, as it's starting to take shape, we have Rob Key, who doesn't have vast amounts of experience as administrator, but he does have vast amounts of experience in cricket from all over, from different angles, different directions, playing, captaining, all the rest of it, all the way from club all the way through to international. We have Ben Stokes, who hasn't got the most experience in the world of captaining, and now we're bringing in McCullum, who doesn't have the most experience in the world of coaching. But it's all about if they're decisive, if they have a clear idea of what they want to do, how they want to do it, what they want to achieve, etc. And also making sure you put people in around you that can support you, that can, where are you short at the moment? Well, they're the people we want around this setup that can support us, whether that's Rob Key or whether it's McCullum or even whether it's Stokes with who he has in his team as well. We'll find out soon enough where the white ball setup is. It's all going to work together, isn't it? But for now, I think this is taking shape into a fantastic setup, and it's exciting. It's not safe. Let's just, I think it's probably worth, just for completion's sake, let's just get through a few quotes, shall we, Rob? I've got Rob Key and then I've got Brendon McCullum. So I'll do Key first and I'll see what you've got to say about it. But he's gone on to say, we're delighted to confirm Brendan's England men's test head coach. It's been a real privilege to get to know him and understand his views and vision for the game. I believe his appointment will be good for England's test team. He has a recent history of changing cricket culture and environments for the better. And I believe he is the person to do that for England's red ball cricket. We're incredibly fortunate to have a seriously strong list of quality candidates for the post, with Brendon demonstrating he was our number one choice. Thanking Tom Harrison, ECB board, blah, blah, blah. I believe in Brendon and Ben Stokes, a formidable coach and captain partnership. Time for us all to buckle up and get ready for the ride. That could be where the Kiwi press is getting that little line from it. But I like that. I like the way Key seems really energized by it.
Yeah, it's exciting times. You know what the biggest thing I've taken away from this is, what do you want? You want someone that is up for it. McCullum, always up for the fight. 40-odd years old, still playing rugby down the South Island in New Zealand, even after retiring and, travelling the world, coaching and being a broadcaster and all that sort of stuff. He was considered for the white ball role. He went, no. I want that role. That's the hardest
challenge.
job. And that's the hardest job in world cricket. That's the one that I'm going to try and take on. And I love that attitude about him.
Yeah.
It's just such a good appointment. I think one thing we should do, Rich, as well, is you did a tweet on Twitter overnight about the excitement. And there was quite a lot of positivity coming back through. And just to touch on these, Paul B, pairing McCullum with Stokes feels exciting and quite risky, but there are logic things that can only get better. Rob Key is big on the test team taking a positive opinion and mindset and picking players with the biggest upside. Quite a few come to mind, quite a few not fitting that strategy. And there's more. There's more and more people going, it's really positive. One of the best ones is Jonathan Young, who said 300 for one at lunch, no problem. Great choice.
Too right. I'll take that. Absolutely say that. Yeah. There was another one as well that we saw as well today in response. It's Just Not Cricket Pod as well. They came back to us. They said, bold and quite remarkable choice. Would have been very easy to go down the safe route, but I have to be quite excited by this. Just need to look at what he achieved as leader in the New Zealand Test. That a really significant factor in getting them to where they are now, which we spoke about. And it's absolutely right, isn't it? It's just that attitude that he had. Like you said, he didn't go for the easy job. He could have done the white ball job and been sort of second fiddle to whoever's behind doing the test job. And you've got a ready-made setup, haven't you? You can roll with Owen Morgan until he's ready to go, and you can just transition in there once you got your feet under the table. No, he wanted the big job, didn't he? So let's hear what McCullum had to say in the press release. So he said, I'd like to say how pleased I am to be given this opportunity to positively contribute to England's Test cricket setup and move the team forward into a more successful era. In taking this role on, I'm acutely aware of the significant challenges the team faces at present. I strongly believe in my ability to help the team emerge as a stronger force once we've confronted them head on. I like that. I've enjoyed several robust conversations. I'd like to know what they're about, Rob. I've enjoyed several robust conversations with Rob Key about the direction of travel for this team, and I've found his enthusiasm contagious. I'm no stranger to bringing about change within a team environment, and I can't wait to get started. Ben Stokes is the perfect character to inspire change around him, and I look forward to working closely with him to build a successful unit around us.
Happy times. Happy place
indeed.
ECB at the moment. Rob Key doing a lot of things that's making people happy in his first month on the job. But the punch is going to be, how do they go? And it's got to be over a period of time. You've got to give it the summer to see how this team's actually shaping out and who's going to be involved. Because, you could look at the Ashes team and there could be players that's not available at the moment that's still part of the conversation, or there's new players that's identified in county championship cricket or white ball cricket. Liam Livingstone's been mentioned a lot lately, who, not wanting to go down a rabbit hole, is a superb white ball player, and before his white ball game took over was an exceptional first class player. I can remember him touring down here in New Zealand with the England team, didn't get a game, but he averaged about 49 in 2016-17. Then his white ball game lit up and his red ball game's fallen apart, and he's averaged 29 over the last 4 years. So, but you talk about people, mentality, positivity, all these things that are game changing. Livingstone might be someone in the future that kind of gets a little bit of a tap up, go play some red ball cricket, mate. Yeah,
it's all open now, isn't it? It's all up for grabs, really, isn't it? So, I mean, the summer ahead, we're not going to be able to judge this straight away. There's going to be some missteps, isn't there? But we've got New Zealand, as we said. 3 test matches against New Zealand. We then face India in that rescheduled 5th test in July before we have 3 tests against South Africa in August and September. There's plenty of cricket. It's not going to be perfect. We're getting excited about this because I think it's right to be excited by this appointment, especially alongside Stokes and what we see with Key so far as well. But we know, and we need to caution ourselves that there will be some, like I said, missteps along the way. But that will just be a bump along the road, I'm sure, to the journey. Yeah. There isn't as much of a rush to naming the white ball coach. Obviously, Owen Morgan's in place, so he's almost like a player coach with the age he is now and the experience. The next bit of cricket we've got is a 3-match one-day series in the Netherlands, which starts 17th of June, and which I'm popping over to watch a game of that. Can't wait for that one. I mean, what more excuse do you need to go to Amsterdam or to go and watch a game of cricket abroad than have a few days in Amsterdam as well? So
that sounds class, mate.
Happy days. That's going to be fun. But they will have a white ball coach in time for that 3-match series in June. So, and it'll be here before we know it, as will the first test team or squad that will be selected, which we hear next week. So we're going to have to jump all over that. I think we need to squeeze in a pod at some point if we can to try and predict our squad, which I have got no idea how we even start predicting it. With this transition that we've seen with Key, Stokes, and now McCullum.
Happy times, mate. So we'll be back. We've got the County Championship Round 6 review coming to you on Monday. Then a couple of days later, we've got England Watch, where we're breaking down the depth chart of all-rounders. We've done the openers, number 3s, middle order, and wicket keepers so far. So we're working through that, and we'll probably finish that series about when the test series is about to start. And then we'll be back when the teams and squads are announced. New Zealand have announced their squad, so we're working through doing some research on those players, the ones that we don't know so much, but it is quite a predictable squad. But, caveat, most are playing in the IPL, and Henry Nicholls, who averages over 40 in the last 4 years of Test cricket, is back in New Zealand with a calf strain. So this could be a very weakened New Zealand batting lineup, given Ross Taylor is not there as well. So let us know below what you think about Brendon McCullum. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? Are you just really excited to see balls get smashed out the ground first ball of a test match? Or do you want to bring back the blockers and get Collingwood batting 3 for us and Trott and Cook and Sibley thrown into the mixer? To me, it is exciting. Let us know below. Please rate, review, subscribe. If you can leave a thumbs up on the video, that's really good. Helps the algorithms all around. And we're going to catch you guys next time.